Amid the rescue missions carried out on land during Hurricane Helene, here's one that was made at sea. Last Thursday, while the storm was still churning in the Gulf of Mexico, a man's sailboat became disabled in the wind and waves, and he called the Coast Guard for help. The sailor wasn't alone, he had his dog with him, and despite the treacherous conditions, rescuers were able to get the both of them into the water with life jackets on and positioned over the helicopter's rescue basket. Not long after that, the man gave the signal, and Coast Guardsmen were able to pull him and his best friend into the helicopter and off to safety. And then it was all smiles and high fives in the aircraft, a truly uplifting story to start our show. Hi, I'm Carl Azuz for The World from A to Z. While we've been covering damage and catastrophic flooding from a hurricane in the United States, the Asian country of Nepal has been dealing with a disaster of its own. Officials said yesterday that almost 200 people had been killed by flooding and landslides. It was triggered by heavy rainfall over the weekend, which made rivers swell beyond their banks. And the nation's capital, Kathmandu, was temporarily cut off because landslides prevented travel on all three highways leading to the city. The weather has improved since then. Workers have been able to reopen at least one of the roads, but first responders have still struggled to reach people because of all the mud and debris. The Nepalese government says dozens are still missing, but several thousand have been rescued. Flooding and landslides are common in Nepal, according to the CIA World Factbook, because of the nation's summer monsoon rains. However, experts also blame the lack of city planning for why these floods were so damaging. They say there's been fast growth in Kathmandu without proper construction, engineering, or drainage, so there aren't a lot of places for excess water to go.
Word of knowledge. What is the largest port in the United States? Port of Los Angeles, Port of Long Beach, Port of New Jersey and New York, Port of Savannah. These are the busiest American ports in order, with the most container cargo handled by the Port of Los Angeles.
As we were producing this show, the Associated Press reported it was all but certain that a major strike would begin last night at several U.S. ports. Why does that matter? Because it would effectively shut down those ports if 45,000 dock workers walked off the job. That could cause problems in the U.S. supply chain of goods, possibly delaying deliveries and raising prices. The deadline for the dock workers union and the ports to reach a deal was at midnight. And before last night, each side was blaming the other for why they hadn't made one. The union said the ports were blocking the path to an agreement. The ports said the union wasn't attending bargaining meetings.
It could be the most disruptive strike the U.S. has seen in nearly 5 decades.
Anything beyond 2 weeks is going to be very, very, very disruptive.
Economists say the potential strike would impact supplies of items like chocolate, alcohol, fruits, hot peppers, and European cars.
A lot of the parts that would be needed to produce vehicles, let's say towards the end of this month, will be on those boats right now. And so if those don't get unloaded, you start having sporadic plant slowdowns.
The International Longshoremen's Association is calling for a $5 per hour pay hike per year over a 6-year contract, raising the top hourly wage from $39 to $69 and keeping its current ban on fully automated equipment. If there is one way for consumers to look at this economic glass as half full, there will be plenty of gifts in stores this December.
Since this was an event that we knew could potentially happen, a lot of retailers were bringing in these holiday items ahead of time.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
On this date in world history. It's not Yosemite. It's not Yosemite. It's Yosemite, and it was established as a U.S. national park on October 1st, 1890. The California home of Half Dome, wholly incredible waterfalls, and giant sequoia trees was the third American area to get national park status. On this date in 1949, Chinese leader Mao Zedong declared the formation of the People's Republic of China after his Communist Party won a years-long civil war. Despite its official name, China has been a communist state since then. It celebrates its National Day every every year on October 1st. And what's considered one of the greatest boxing matches ever was held on this date in 1975. Known as the Thrilla in Manila because it took place in the Philippines, heavyweight champion Muhammad Ali defeated challenger Joe Frazier when Frazier's trainer stopped the fight after 14 rounds.
Where in the world? This is one of the world's oldest countries, and it has no official Independence Day. It eventually became a republic after its monarchy was overthrown in 1789. It's the largest country in Western Europe. This is France, one of several nations known for making great chocolate.
France and chocolate both factor into our next story on how a chef at a company named Valrhona stumbled across what might become a new type of chocolate. You've heard of dark chocolate, milk chocolate. We'll save the debate over whether white chocolate is really chocolate at all for another time. But something called a Maillard reaction, a chemical event at high temperatures that makes bread toasty or gives steak a good sear, it resulted in a caramel-colored sweet that's gaining fans in Europe and beyond.
Years ago, Frederic Beau absent-mindedly left white chocolate cooking for 4 days. When he finally remembered his chocolate,
Mon chocolat blanc,
Well, it became blonde.
parfaitement improbable,
it looked ruined. But he tasted the stuff and
devenu blond.
It's very tasty and much less sweet. An incredible color, an incredible smell. That's how Dulce was born.
C'est comme ça que Dulce est né.
it's not the first time a kitchen mishap has led to delicious discoveries. Chocolate chip cookies were supposed to be entirely chocolate, chips melted and mixed in. Popsicles were created when a soda was accidentally left in the cold, and crepes Suzette were invented when a young chef caught his crepes on fire, resulting in a Maillard reaction. And it's actually this same reaction that created blonde chocolate. Valrhona took blonde chocolate and spent the next 7 years perfecting the recipe. Dulce chocolate launched in 2012, and it wasn't just a fad flavor. Dulce is one of Valrhona's top 5 sellers, and its popularity is growing across the world. While some might turn up their noses at the simplicity and sweetness of white chocolate, Dulce brings a novel and nuanced flavor that a lot of culinary creatives are excited to work with. Belgium and Switzerland, both known for chocolate, have begun to adopt the blonde stuff too. Now, Valrhona is pushing for blonde to be officially classified as its own chocolate category, alongside milk, dark, and white.
Il fait adorer le chocolat.
By law, we have to call it white chocolate.
Par la loi,
Anything above 19% and under 30% cocoa product is considered white chocolate in France, no matter the actual chocolate's color. Despite Valrhona's arguments and other uniquely colored chocolates emerging, French chocolate classifications aren't budging. So for now, blonde chocolate will remain white chocolate to the masses.
We've received more than 100,000 shout-out requests since we relaunched this August, so thank you. We're working our way through 3 at a time. Moving west to east across the continental U.S. today. I say continental because we're starting in Alaska, where Mr. Utt's class is with us from Service High School in Anchorage. Great to see the Cougars in the last frontier. From the Grand Canyon state of Arizona, Mr. Wagner's class is watching. Big hello to the Panthers of Poston Junior High School in the city of Mesa. And how about the Rams of Seabrook Middle School? From the Granite State of New Hampshire, Mr. Coder's class is ramtastic in the town of Seabrook. Kind of makes sense that a company that dates back to 1889 would have its own museum. But what it's internationally famous for isn't so much the playing cards it made in the 19th century as it is for Mario, Tetris, and The Legend of Zelda. Japanese video game maker Nintendo opens its new museum in Osaka tomorrow. Old school games, interactive characters, gigantic controllers are all part of it. Nintendo got a big boost in the mid-1980s with Super Mario Bros. And since then, it's been Animal Crossing the Planetoid on a duck hunt for Excite Bike adventures that cart players on a legendary odyssey that aims to punch out turtle power for every ninja kid with a fantasy of Mari roving a Zelda awesome link to virtual worlds. I'm Carl Azuz, bringing fun and games to the world from A to Z, and we hope you'll select to start again with us tomorrow.